Very quick video about the FIFA World Cup, which is just beginning to get seriously interesting now in the group stages. We know that the two best players in the world are knocked out. Lionel Messi, of course, losing 4-3 to the French, and Cristiano Ronaldo losing 2-1 to the Uruguayans in a game which you think if the rest of the Portugal team maybe had the same firepower as Argentina, they maybe should have beaten Uruguay. It's just one of those things. And by the way, if we're going to talk about the debate about who is truly better between Ronaldo and Messi, only one of them's won Ballon d'Ors for two different clubs. Only one of them has won a trophy at an international level. And considering the team Argentina have, and considering the team Portugal have, I think Cristiano Ronaldo's leadership skills drastically improved. I mean, we've seen how supportive he was in the Euro 2016 final. I reckon if Messi was in the same situation, he would sulk on the bench, if not probably just get wheeled away and watch it on the television, if he could bear it. Because Argentina are the greatest bottle merchants of the last 15 years. And I can say that fairly confidently. And Lionel Messi being a selfish focal point doesn't help. And we start to see now that all those years that Iniesta and Xavi were finishing behind him in the Ballon d'Or, we're starting to realise maybe they deserve the Ballon d'Or over Lionel Messi. So regardless, moving on from football, we're here to talk about Formula 1, which is my favourite sport. I love racing. Not all types of racing, because some are boring. To me, if you're a redneck and you tell me NASCAR is good, then you really are a redneck then, aren't you, boy? I'm sorry, NASCAR is rubbish. Anyone can drive fast in a circle. I've been, I think kids do that, just for fun on their bikes around the States. So I don't think there's any genuine skill involved with NASCAR. It's just overhyped people bringing a lot of money to an overhyped sport. Let's talk about serious cars now, yeah? I watch Formula E, which is brilliant. It's just a shame the cars are so noisy. Formula E is going to be interesting next season, though. We talk about how all these rejected Formula 1 drivers that are now succeeding in Formula E. Felipe Massa's going at the start for next season. And let's not forget, Felipe Massa was one season 1 point off becoming the Formula 1 world champion. And people forget that, that we could easily be saying Lewis Hamilton is a three-time world champion, but how easily we could be saying Felipe Massa could be a world champion. He was that close to being regarded as a world champion. And also, he would have been held in the same regard in the public as Kimi Raikkonen, as Sebastian Vettel, as Lewis Hamilton, as Fernando Alonso. But it didn't quite happen. Now he's given a chance in Formula E, and presuming Venturi gives him a car that's competitive, and he gets used to it pretty quickly, I see Felipe Massa potentially becoming an upset world champion in the Formula E. In the Formula E season. So we'll keep an eye on that next season. Formula E, by the way, there's not much point on me doing commentary on it, because if you didn't know this, the ABB Formula E, if you type in exactly that, is a channel. Go and subscribe to it, and they broadcast the practice sessions, the qualifying, and the race. It's not a channel that covers the Formula E, it is the official Formula E channel. And because they don't show it on the television, they very wisely show it all on YouTube. And trust me, it's good. Qualifying and the race happens in the same day. It's good fun. If you're sick of the Formula 1 qualifying only lasting an hour and a half, then it gives you something else to do, So, anyway. Formula 1. It's going to start soon. Another race, Austria. I think we know who's going to win, don't we? It's going to be a Mercedes. They've been the most dominant unless something drastic happens. And personally, it's getting to the point where you kind of hope there's a 6-car mashup between all the Mercedes, all the Ferraris, and all the Red Bulls, and a genuine underdog will pick up their first race win. Because let's face it, folks, it's also not going to be Fernando Alonso. What a driver he is, though. Fernando is a great driver. He's proving it in all the other categories of driving in the world. And McLaren they're just not good enough. You know, they blamed it on the engine. Then they brought in a competitive engine. Then they're trying to blame it on the engine again. It's like, get a serious look of yourself, lads. You know, McLaren is my favorite constructor, and they're falling apart. I mean, I'm not really a McLaren fan anymore. I mean, well, I am. You know, it's not like a whole glory hunter thing. In my heart, I want McLaren to do well. I will always want McLaren to do well. But they're not. They're just not this season. McLaren aren't going to do well. It's going to be... It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I personally believe that Alonso is going to go. I don't think Alonso's going to stay. He's definitely not going to stay, Fernando Alonso. It's just a big disappointment that such a good driver has been given such a terrible car, and it pains you. You know, it obviously pains you. But you just can't. You just can't really. It's hard to have sympathy for him. You know, he knew what he was coming into. He did choose to stay again, and I'm sure he would have had another offer to go somewhere else. But regardless, I think Van Dorn as well, by the way. I think he's great, but I think that's it. That's as far as it goes. If McLaren really do pull off this coup move of signing Kimi Raikkonen and Daniel Ricciardo, very unlikely, but if they do, that's a good pairing, I think, for the championship. We know Raikkonen, even if he doesn't, you know, even if you tell him he's not going to be the number 2 driver, I think it's safe to say that Daniel Ricciardo would be faster than Kimi Raikkonen in the same car. Kimi's past this best. Raikkonen's not a race winner anymore. He's a podium finisher, and he's quite happy with that. He's going for money and records that people aren't actively going for, because he knows that if he wants race wins, he's going to have to try and beat Lewis. He's going to have to try and beat Daniel, and of course his teammate Sebastian, who rather interestingly has been rather quiet the last couple of races. And funnily enough, this is turning out just like last season. You know, very mixed start. Maybe the mixed start lasted a bit longer this year than it did last year, apart from that one win from Verstappen that no one really seen coming. It's just you know, what a farce Formula One can be sometimes. You know, it's so chaotic. Talking about it, and who should win and that they can't win, and there's always something in Formula One. That's what gives it the edge over other motorsports, for sure. Just that class as well that comes with it. But we lose that very spark that Formula One set out for by making the same teams competitive. And that's why the new rules in a couple of years, of course, will completely change everything, I believe. But until then, I think we can expect Mercedes to continue to be dominant. And that upsets me, because I'm a man of variety. I personally think it's really cool when someone retains a title. But I think it starts to borderline on the ridiculous when they retain it for a 3rd time, or in Mercedes' case, last year they retained it for the 4th time. And now that Lewis Hamilton's ahead again, Mercedes could win 5 titles in a row, which is one more than what Red Bull did. And everyone remembers how sick of Formula One people were getting when Red Bull was winning. Just ever since the electrical engine change in most of the engine in the Formula One car, just Mercedes have just dominated it. And that can't surprise you, because at the end of the day, they are a German team, and the German teams are always going to give you that little bit extra. The Italians might try to give you that little extra bit of firepower, that extra bit of finesse, but the Mercedes is just, it's just German perfection. And it's, you know, the fact that one of the team principals or one of the co-owners is Niki Lauda, you know, definitely helps on the sides of efficiency and setting up the car. If you've got someone like Niki Lauda backing up someone like Lewis Hamilton, well, it's a winning combo, isn't it? I mean, he even said, you know, when he first came, who do you think would be good at Mercedes? First thing he said is, I want Lewis Hamilton. They signed Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's won 3 world titles. Niki Lauda still knows what he's talking about. He's a genius. Niki Lauda is a genius. And I think if something was to happen to him in Mercedes, obviously I'm not saying I want something to happen. Niki Lauda is one of my favorite drivers of all time, but he's cracking on a bit, you know, and it's... you know, illness happens, problems happen, and they develop more. And I think if something was to happen to Nicky, I think Mercedes would lose their way very quickly. Like, Toto's a very good team manager, very good team principal, very good. But when it comes to the drivers, I don't think Toto would be able to handle them. Yeah, sure, he's got a big, booming, commanding voice, but keeping them in line was Niki Lauda's job. And, you know, considering he was a little whiny bitch, I don't think anyone else but Niki Lauda could have kept Nico Rosberg's head in the right place to at least win the championship when Lewis's car wasn't working properly. Everyone always said, you know, Rosberg is always second best, he's not that good, he's just in a really good car. Since Bottas has arrived, you don't know if it's just the fact that the other teams have closed the gap slightly, or it's the fact that Rosberg was actually a far more consistent driver than we realized. But he made too many mistakes under pressure. Every time Hamilton would put him under pressure, he'd make a mistake. Every time Bottas is put under pressure, he doesn't really make a mistake. When he loses these races, it's been down to such poor luck. I mean, he's lost races because of a safety car. He lost that race where he was dominant. He got pole. I can't remember which it was. He was leading the whole race, and a few laps before the end, his tire blew up. You know, it's just, you just have to feel for Bottas. Bottas should be a title contender, but I don't think he's got enough to be the world champion. You know, he's not Sebastian Vettel, he's not Lewis Hamilton, and to be honest, the only 2 drivers out there that are driving like Formula 1 world champions that aren't Formula 1 champions are the Red Bull drivers, Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, both brilliant. They're both absolutely brilliant. But Ricciardo's got to be careful now, because he was this, you know, really pacey Australian, looked like a future champion. Then Max Verstappen comes along, and arguably the races that Ricciardo's won are the ones where Verstappen should have been ahead of him, but little boyish mistakes, you know, that's been the difference. Verstappen's still young, but his raw pace is phenomenal. You know, I mean, the guy's younger than me. It's phenomenal. He is truly phenomenal, and we're just getting some viewage here of Lewis Hamilton's helmet and equipment. They're all on the track, so I'm gonna guess the race is gonna be kicking off fairly soonish. So hopefully we're not talking for too much longer, because it would be good to get back to the race. I'm noticing I've got a couple of comments coming in. I'm not really sure if I'm going to watch them or if I'm going to read them. It doesn't sound like something I'd read. If you're currently listening, of course, and you're enjoying the content, then that's great. I tell you what, though, I'm gonna read the comments just to see what's happening. And it says I've got 3 comments, but I've got nothing. That doesn't really faze me, though, to be honest. I'm just looking to talk. I'm not really looking to discuss. You know, if I was looking for a discussion, then I'd be going out to a pub or a coffee house. You know, I wouldn't be sitting here making a video in my bedroom. Sounds so depressing when I put it like that, but you know, when you've got a back pain and there's nothing else to do on a Sunday, and the Formula One's live, and you've got no one else online. You might as well just do a live broadcast. Oh, and speaking of the devil from earlier, here's them talking to Niki Lauda.
What was the briefing like this morning? Briefing was very simple, don't hit each other, and then you can race for free. For free, whatever they want to do.
And in Paul Ricard, I think it was a very controlled Grand Prix, obviously from Lewis Hamilton. We saw with the engine, we saw with the pace, it looked like a very, a reactive Grand Prix. He could just react to anything. Do you think you're going to have that type of advantage today?
You will see when the race develops, and when the tire it's hotter, 10 degrees more asphalt temperature, which can affect the tires, so let's wait and see. I hope it is a controlled race.
Good luck, Nicky.
Well, he seems as ever confident as always, talking to Mark Webber there. Obviously I can use your names and I can play it down the mic. That is not a breach of copyright law. And if someone tells me it is from YouTube, well, I'll tell them to go fuck themselves, because I think I know a great deal more about law than people give me credit for. It's what's kept me out of trouble so far with my fucking motor mouth and etc, etc. Here they are. They're talking to Helmut Marko now. Not sure if I'll bother with this one. Helmut Marko. He's a bit dry for my liking. I respect the guy, but let's face it, he is a bit of an arse hat. But he has to be. He's a strict guy working for a multi-conglomerate, and he's definitely, he's definitely that Austrian German personality. Just so clinical. Speaking of cynicism and being clinical, how about Max Verstappen yesterday in qualifying? Ricciardo wanted to go behind him so he could get the toe, and Max said no, discipline. To his engineer, Max Verstappen, out of everyone, was the one saying discipline, down the mic. It's not cheek either, because Horner came out afterwards and confirmed that that was the strategy. One car would get a toe from the other race by race. And Ricciardo, wasn't feeling it, so he wanted the toe, and Max said, no, it's not your turn. And you know what, that is very well disciplined from a guy who's made so many mistakes this year. Take nothing away from Max, though. There's a reason he's in Formula 1 at his age. It's not just for the hype. It's not so that Red Bull can say, ooh, we've got this young driver. It's because he's that good. And he's so much better than some of the other drivers we've seen at Toro Rosso or Red Bull. Jean-Eric Vergne might be succeeding now in Formula E, but Formula E is a bit of a close matchup, so it's not really luck. Obviously you've got to be consistent, but he's only got a couple of race wins under his belt in there. But you got the likes of Jean-Eric Vergne, and it's the likes of Daniel Kvyat. Daniel Kvyat, what the torpedo! What a boy he is, huh? Fucking Kvyat, he's terrible, absolutely terrible Formula 1 driver. Why Red Bull put him in their car in the first place, I'll have no idea. It should have been Sainz. It should have been Sainz. Well, here we go. We're looking at Bernie Ecclestone. Now, he looks rough as shit. Apparently, he's been having financial issues. Has Bernie Ecclestone. Financial issues. I don't see that. How can Bernie Ecclestone, billionaire who just sold Formula 1, how on earth can he be having financial issues? I have financial issues. I've got 57p in my fucking bank account. Now that's a financial issue, right? Selling your company for a couple of billion, in my mind, it isn't a fucking problem. It's not a real problem anyway. It's ridiculous. I just can't believe it. Right, so this might get a bit boring for now because the race still hasn't started. I really should have started this video a bit later than I have. I may just have to leave for a moment or two. I'm not sure if I'll cut the stream or start it again. Probably not. I'll probably keep it running. I just don't know when they're starting. I can find out though. I've got to stop saying it. I've just got to check, haven't I? By the way, it's very nice to see I have 3 viewers. Very nice. Hello, hello. And I know someone's making comments, and I apologize that I'm not reading them. It's just if I open up the comment section on here, the whole right side, obviously everyone knows if you've got PS4, I'll get a big black block with your comments on the right hand side, and it just narrows down the screen, and it's just, it looks ugly. It looks ugly on the stream. It looks ugly when I'm playing the game. So I've tried going on YouTube to try and read your comments, whoever's commenting. It's not allowing me. It's telling me that you're watching, but it's not telling me what your comments are. Hopefully it's not abuse, and if it's abuse, I'll be sure to send it right back to you at the end of the video, because I can. You know, it's the way of the world. Give as you get. Hey ho, let's just hope it's fine. And there's a 5th comment, so I'm going to start guessing it's abuse. Right, so the race should be beginning fairly soon. It should be beginning fairly soon. I am away to disappear for about 10 minutes fairly soon, maybe after this cast. So if you are watching, then I would suggest fairly soon you you go and do your thing. Unfortunately, I'm a smoker, and my needs must be met. And I've just checked the official time, because it's finally stopped dicking around. The race starts in 20 minutes. I am so sorry I started this way too early. I started this far too fucking early. I apologize, lads. You know, I definitely expected it to come up a lot sooner. So yeah, here we go. I'm away off for a cigarette. After this, okay, it looks like we've got a smallmouth buffalo on the line. It's the only fish that fights this good on this lake. And if you are interested in Fishing Planet, and you're wondering why I'm fishing on the starter lake, it's because it's the easiest way to make money without having to pay. There we go. Nice £3 fish. 6,000 bucks in the bank. Okay, that's an extra 600. I'll tell you what, when I come back, we've been fishing with Brett a lot. We'll start some spinning. We'll try to get in some spotted bass and some real money. If you're interested, of course, in watching Formula 1, or you're interested in listening, of course, 2 different things. If you want to listen to it and get a unique insight, obviously stay tuned to me over the next hour and a half or so. Or if you want to watch it, if you're in Britain, you go to Channel 4. If you don't have a TV near you, you just go into All 4. And you watch the race live. They are showing this one live, thank God. I think it's pathetic that they don't have the rights to show every race. I think that's very cheap, especially since BBC gave up their rights to show Formula 1, which I maintain is the dumbest thing to ever happen on BBC. But BBC, they don't know anything about what people like or what the people want. So, and if you're from Britain and you tuned in, you know I'm 100% right. So yes, I'm away down for a cigarette. Unfortunately, this will get a little boring. I can't deny that. So the only thing I can really do to enhance it or make sure something's happening is go into a random room where there are other players. You know, that helps, having some extra players here. I don't see them though. Ah, there's one. There's one guy. There's a couple of them though. Bow Hunter, Shivel, Joe. Okay, there's quite a few. So where are they? There's one here. There must be one down there. Oh, there's one in the water. Oh, hey, that's a good spot actually. Right, so when I return, we'll obviously continue, and I will be doing some spinning for spotted bass. Once I earn some money, we'll probably go to one of the better lakes, earn some better fish. Um, I will leave you the current stream if you're not listening, and you can listen to the commentary as I'm gone. So hopefully I'm back before the start of the race. I will speak to you guys very soon. FYI, before I leave, I don't think this will be one of the classics. So be prepared for a potentially boring race.
spam, fake news, and data misuse. That's not okay. Which is why Facebook is changing. From now on, we'll do more to put you in control and help protect your privacy. To help you enjoy more of what you came here for in the first place. Friends. Because when this place does what it was built for, then we all get a little closer.
Formula One coverage on 4, sponsored by Burns.
Welcome back to race day. We are live on Channel 4, and that's a man preparing to start the Austrian Grand Prix from pole position. Valtteri Bottas there. And do you know what? I'm very excited because I know it looks weird because generally I'm only allowed on the grid and highlights, but because we got extra time on the grid nowadays, they've allowed me to come out here on a live show. It's very exciting. I'm so close I can almost smell Lewis's Lynx Sport Blast body spray. Other deodorants are available. But Mark, what a privilege to be here. I don't think it gets said enough. You know, the heat, the drivers sitting right there, the crowd, you know, baying, entertain us.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And also, you know what? I've never, ever been on the grid with a Welshman. I've never been on the grid with a Welshman. So, you know, no, this does honestly get the little juices going with me, mate, because it is a special time. And I just want to point out a few things to the viewers at home, because normally we've got all the, you know, banners around the outside of the car. We can't get close. Just in here, you can see the yellow line here, and then the front grid box here. So he's going to try and park the front tyre inside that section there, because you've got the jump start device underneath the front of the nose cone just inside there. So last year we saw Valtteri Bottas nearly jump the start. So that's going to be a little bit of a topic. I guarantee you, when he pulls up here today, he's going to make sure he wants to get that right. But then the initial reaction to the lights. Then interestingly, I just saw him jump into the car there before, Steve, and I was very superstitious. I liked it. Look, I was superstitious on one thing, which was jumping in the car always from the left-hand side, because from my go-kart days, I used to burn my arm on the right-hand side. But Valtteri, he's jumping in from the right-hand side there.
Can we stroll?
Yeah, we should.
You mentioned to DC before the national anthem that you envisaged that they would finish in this position, the top three. Do you honestly think Valtteri can keep that man there in car 44 bay for 71 laps?
Look, there's absolutely no question about it. We know when Lewis Hamilton puts his helmet on, he is a winning machine. He wants to win. And so today, he's going to line up and do whatever he can to get the job done against his teammate. And that could be his instantaneously off the line. So I'm going to be interested to see how that goes. Here he is getting prepared in there. So
Cool,
it's
calm,
exciting.
and collected, Mark. But what about the mental state of this man here? Our source, who is very reliable, tells him that this man is about to enter a Grand Prix knowing that he's lost his seat for 2019. What's going through Kimmy's head?
No, he's got a podium to get, if you like. There's absolutely no question about it that he's under pressure. He's trying to extend his contract, which is going to be unlikely. We've got a flying machine above us here, mate. I can't hardly see where he is, but here he is. He's on the start finish. So, and Max Verstappen will want to get past Kimi Raikkonen very early. So the battle for the steps looks really, really good.
Let's get into it.
I have a hunch that may have been too quiet for you guys. Nevertheless, here we are. Welcome back. Welcome back. I apologize if that was too quiet.
Enjoy. Hope it's a cracker for you.
Right, well, I'm back in time by the looks of it. Looks like they're away to do the warm-up lap after a couple of adverts. What a lovely track Austria is. And if you're not a teenager tuning into this that actually has a good bit of money on you, I seriously recommend a holiday to Austria. Austria is beautiful. Doesn't matter if you go during the winter or the summer. If you go during the summer, Austria is a beautiful paradise. If you go during the winter, it's a skiing paradise, a snowboarding paradise. I love it. So, welcome to Spielberg is the message we get. The new music's pretty good, but I think I speak for most of the Formula One community when I say bring back the chain from Fleetwood Mac. That song epitomizes racing, not a cheap orchestral piece that sounds like it was written from Two Steps from Hell. Don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against Two Steps from Hell, but They're used in YouTube videos, they're used in promotional videos, they're used in WWE videos. I'm just sick of Two Steps from Hell being everywhere. I mean, I love the music, but come on, some variety. Someone new try making something, you know? I mean, Audio Machine, sorry, who tried doing the same thing. Their music's dreadful, absolutely dreadful. Like, you can tell so easily that it's not a genuine orchestra. Like, you know the difference. You can tell it's an orchestra, or you can tell where it's a quote unquote high quality synth. Honestly, the difference is so noticeable. But yeah, bring back the chain. So, what's the big news about this track? Mercedes have won every race since 2014. That's why I think Mercedes will win. Niki Lauda is the only Austrian to win the Austrian Grand Prix, and today is Daniel Ricciardo's 29th birthday. So if Daniel Ricciardo wants to be a world champion, he's got a couple of years to do it before he starts to go on the decline. That's why he needs to seriously consider if he should move next season or stay at Red Bull. By the way, Red Bull with a Honda engine? That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to say, Showing some previous crashes that have happened in the first lap. Turn 4 apparently, best spot for overtaking, most recognisable was an overtake in the 98 season between Mika Hakkinen and Michael Schumacher. Mika Hakkinen, of course, on record, Michael Schumacher, of course, went on record to say that Mika Hakkinen was the only driver he ever feared in Formula 1. So here we go, Mercedes 1-2. Is Hamilton going to let Bottas have his moment, or does he want to win? I think he's going to want to win. Of course, we know Max Verstappen is up into 4th, and Grosjean, of all people, is up into 5th. And that's because Sebastian Vettel has been given a grid penalty for blocking during qualifying. I can't tell you who it was he blocked. I was very confused to hear he had the penalty. Nevertheless, Sebastian Vettel, title contender, down in 6th. And Grosjean's up in 5th. That's just insane. And you know what else is insane? Seeing the bottom of the grid. Seeing the bottom of the grid is just... it's so painful. It's so painful. Oh, and there we go, even more worse news for Alonso. Alonso's starting from the fucking pit lane. Well, I think it's safe to say he's probably not going to get a point today. Jesus. Is there any point in him running in that car? But this is the man we need to root for right now. Romain Grosjean. He has had podiums with Lotus in the past. He's been a very consistent driver. But this season, you know, as good as he is, he hasn't scored a single point. Grosjean, you know, the guy who, when you compare him to Magnussen, you think, oh yeah, Grosjean's a better driver. Well, he's in 5th. He's only got points to lose at this point, has Grosjean. There's of course a lot of cars pushing from the back, but he's got to keep a clean race if he wants points. I don't think a podium is going to happen. I really don't. Like I say, I think Mercedes dominant 1-2. Let's hope I'm wrong, because we all want shocks. We all want something bad to happen. Let's face it, if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, it's getting to the point where you're like, he's going to win it. Even if he crashes out this race, Lewis Hamilton is probably going to be the world champion. And you know, as a Brit, I'm happy with Lewis Hamilton as world champion, but as I said, little bit of variety. Go on, let's let Grosjean win this race, you know. Or Max. I'd be very happy if Max was to win the race, or if Daniel was to win again to bring him even closer into title contention. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if Vettel has a bad race and Hamilton was to crash or also have a bad race, Ricciardo's just a whisker away from being back in the picture. Right now, of course, mathematically, there's still loads of people who can win it, but let's be real with who can actually win it, and it's those three. Everyone else is just too far away unless Bottas wins every race from this point on. And Hamilton just nearly overtook Bottas on the formation lap. They just started. Well, they haven't just started, but you know what I mean. They've just begun the formation lap, and straight away Hamilton... Oh. Okay, so we've got a tailwind at turn 3, so if anyone's watching the race with me, turn 3, we could be looking at a potential crash. Tailwind is the most dangerous type of wind on a Formula 1 circuit. Even if it's slight, these cars are so sensitive. Anything can throw them into a wall or into another car. So turn 3 might be where it starts to get interesting, so if you think that turns 1 and 2, it sounds like the race has already been decided. I wouldn't count it out yet until we get the first few laps done and out the way. So the predicted pit stop strategy is either ultra soft. Well, if they're starting on ultra soft, they will switch to the softs in about 19 laps time. If they're starting on the super softs, they reckon they will switch to softs in about 25, potentially 30 laps. And you know, they talk about the softs. The softs has become the new hard tire. Think about how long the soft is made to last by these teams. It's so hard compared to the ultra softs. Others. Oh, and here's a pose of Ricciardo in a party hat. There we go. Happy 29th. Daniel Ricciardo starting down in 7th. Race winners have started further down than that. But come on, let's give Daniel Ricciardo a nice birthday present. Let's give him a nice win. Or Max Verstappen. Let's just see a good race, please. I do not want to see Valtteri Bottas just take off with Lewis and that's it. It looks like it's going to be exactly what happens, but let's hope for some drama. Even a crash with one of the big names in it would be great. Because we want Formula 1 guys just want to see something different. And I have a wanker standing in my way. Here we go, away we go, lights out. Good start by Raikkonen. Raikkonen's between the Mercedes. Oh, what's wrong with Bottas? Bottas has lost 3 positions. Is he going to lose to Grosjean as well? Oh, Raikkonen's locked up and he's gone wide. Is Kimi going to get his place back? Yes, he is. Kimi's back in 2nd. It's Lewis. Oh, here comes Bottas. Here comes Bottas. Oh, Bottas on Raikkonen. Oh, they'll crash so many times. There we go. Raikkonen back down to 3rd. Bottas up into 2nd. Bottas leapfrogs Max Verstappen and Kimi Raikkonen. And here comes Verstappen on Raikkonen. Raikkonen goes wide and Verstappen is past Raikkonen. And Raikkonen now under attack from Ricciardo, who's jumped up into 5th. Oh my god. They said there wasn't going to be a lot of overtakes. I've seen about 6 so far. Let alone what's going on at the back. Vettel's past Magnussen. So wait, they say Vettel's up into 7th? So he's gone down. Vettel had a dreadful start. Oh, Vettel's now attacking Grosjean. He's going to be careful. He's not going to crash into the back of him. Ricciardo's still pushing Raikkonen, but Verstappen and the 2 Mercedes are starting to break clear. Yellow flag. Oh, someone's off. Someone's off. It's a Sauber. It's Charles Leclerc. What a shame. Charles Leclerc's off, but is he out?
It's a bit hustling, hasn't it? They don't look like they've got 100 kilos of fuel on board. Typically at the start of a Grand Prix, everyone's a bit, the cars are a bit more docile, everyone's being a little bit more careful. But on this short lap, they're going for it. Down at 10-3. Reporting some debris in turn 3.
That's a good point the commentators have just raised about how the Mercedes have just flown away throwing their cars around as if they're not carrying as much fuel. There's some debris on the track, so there was. It looks yellow, so it looks like some debris off of a Renault or a Red Bull potentially. But Jesus. Oh, and Vettel nearly crashed into Grosjean, sorry. So Vettel's back up into 6th, and DRS has just been enabled. Well, what did I say about the front 6? There we go, straight away the front 6 are back out. 2 Mercedes, a Red Bull, a Ferrari, a Red Bull, and a second Ferrari. I don't think Haas have the pace to recatch them. I think Haas are just going to be the best of the rest, as they should have been all season. This is interesting. You know, they said Lance Stroll now just had a good lap. I don't see how a Williams has ever had a good lap this season, if I'm completely honest. It's difficult to know if these guys are actually good or not. I mean, Stroll proved himself when he finished 3rd in one of the races, but I mean, what can you say about Sirotkin? Is he good? I think Kubica's a better driver than Sirotkin. That's why I was so shocked when the Russian got the seat instead of Kubica, because Kubica is a better driver. Much better driver. Yeah, so the initial start from Raikkonen was incredible. He went right between the 2 Mercedes, and then Verstappen and Raikkonen forced Bottas off the track. Bottas just stayed ahead of Grosjean. Just stayed ahead of him. And so Van Dorn made contact with someone for the debris. So it's McLaren debris, so it's orange debris, not yellow. My mistake. So Van Dorn's got damage. Ah, okay, Raikkonen's end clipped the front of Bottas. It's amazing that Bottas still has the pace actually after that, because you know what these cars are like. A slight bit of damage, you could be out. And then when he tried to go around the outside of Hamilton, he went way too hard, locked up. I love Verstappen's helmet, by the way. The top of his helmet is really cool. So he's watching. Yeah, Bottas pushed behind by Raikkonen. Raikkonen comes back on track as well, ahead of Max. And Lewis is away. It might not be a 1-2. But it looks very good. So this is what it looks like from Bottas. God, the pace of the Mercedes. So this is Van Dorn into Gasly. Is that Gasly? Yep. So Van Dorn had to pit, so he is now bottom. And of course Leclerc went off track. That gave Alonso an opportunity to pass him, but it still looks very dire for McLaren. 18th and 20th out of 20. Jesus, what happened? What the hell happened? It's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I mean, when they were finishing 10th and 12th, everyone said that was embarrassing, but 18th and 20th, my God. That's so cringy. It's McLaren, you know. The fact that Williams are down there too, it's embarrassing. But someone has to finish bottom, don't they? Oh, but it's McLaren. Fucking McLaren. You just can't get over it, can you? You can't get over that Haas, Renault. Two teams, well, Renault of course have been here before, but they've only been back for a year or two, and then, you know, same with Haas, been around for a couple of years now. And then you've got McLaren at the bottom. It's like seeing Ferrari down at the bottom. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. So the difference is the Mercedes and the Ferraris are on ultra softs. Now that's actually quite interesting now that we've mentioned that, because if the Red Bulls have genuine pace on the super softs when they get into clean air, they'll obviously need to pit after. Well, apparently there's still debris on the track. That's pretty poor from the officials if they haven't got that under control. Yeah, there it is. Bizarre. But yeah, if the Red Bulls have genuine pace and clean air, when the main teams go to stop, obviously super softs are able to last longer. We could look at a race, a very good race near the end of the race. I mean, there's 71 laps. 8 gone. 8 laps gone. And the top 10 stands as this: 10th Ocon, 9th Hulkenberg, 8th Magnussen, 7th Grosjean, 6th Vettel, 5th Ricciardo, 4th Raikkonen, 3rd Verstappen, 2nd Bottas, and 1st Lewis Hamilton, who's going faster and faster. And I'm seriously questioning how much fuel is in that Mercedes, because they were faster than everyone else in qualifying and practice, sure, but not by this much. Not by this much. By the gaps there was been, you'd expect Hamilton and Bottas to be maybe 2 seconds ahead of the rest of the grid. Hamilton's 5 seconds ahead of Verstappen, and 2.5 seconds ahead of Bottas. It's just, you see, that just, it doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right to me. If you're wondering why I've gone a little silent, it's because, well, nothing's really happening. There's decent enough gaps between everyone. Yeah, there's nothing particularly special happening right now. Got some more money coming in on Fishing Planet. Oh, lovely! Another $700. Oh, okay. Ricciardo hit Raikkonen. It looked like it was good racing, but Ricciardo's made contact with Raikkonen. So is that a race incident, or did he shove them out the way? It's exactly the same as what Vettel did to Bottas and Paul Ricard. Okay, so we've had the first lapped car, Van Dorn. Fernando Alonso's now dropped down to 19th. He's been overtaken by Brendan Hartley. So Alonso's just said if this is it, he's not going to finish the race. He's going to walk. Oh, battle for ninth going on. Hulkenberg, Ocon, Sainz and Perez, the two Force Indias and the two... Oh, whoa, whoa. Okay, so Ocon... Whoa, what's going on? What's going on? Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nico Hulkenberg's engine's just blown. Oh, he's on fire. He's on fire. Get out the car, mate. Right, Nico Hulkenberg is out. The car's just blown up. Get out the car, Nico. Jesus Christ. Just that four-way battle, they were all overtaking each other. Then all of a sudden, Hulkenberg's engine just goes spectacularly, chuffing out smoke like an old-fashioned train, setting on fire by the time he leaves the track. But that is Nico Hulkenberg out of the race. Well, at least Alonso's not going to be 19th anymore. Well, that's it. That is huge. That was a huge fire. The car looks well, it looks burnt to shit at the back. And Kimi Räikkönen's just set the fastest lap after that nonsense. But wow, that was a spectacular blaze. Yeah, there we go. He started to lose power, and then you just hear the coming from the back of the car. That's total engine failure. Total engine failure. Christ, that is so much smoke. You look at the size of the cars and you think, how could there possibly be so much? Jesus. Like, it wasn't just on fire, it was kicking it out in waves, you know. Oh man. Yeah, that car is toast. Out goes Hulkenberg. So that moves Ocon up into 9th, Perez into 10th, Sainz into 11th, and very nicely for Williams it means that Stroll is now 12th. So come on Williams, you know, let's get some points on the table. Couple more big teams have issues. I mean, as we said before, Grosjean's maiden hasn't scored a point yet, so he looks vulnerable even though he's 7th. Right, everyone's now being worried that there's oil over the track. And the crash between... Oh no, Valtteri Bottas is out! The turbo's gone! I can't believe it! Bottas is out! Valtteri Bottas is out of the Grand Prix! The man who I said was the unluckiest Formula 1 driver on the grid. It's happened again. I mean, he's still driving it. Is he coming back out? No. It's stuck in second gear. It's not even a turbo thing. It's stuck in second gear. There's no pressure in the car. The pressure systems are gone. That's it. Bottas's race is over. Oh, look at him. He just throws the cockpit out of the car. Oh man. You think that Fernando Alonso's the most pissed off guy in Formula 1? No, it's this guy. Well, it's not going to be a Mercedes 1-2. Something's gone wrong. Hip hip hooray, but oh, why did it have to be Bottas again? The guy can't catch a break. He really can't catch a break. Christ. It jammed in gear, and when it jammed, the car panicked. It gave up all pressure to the gearbox, refused to change back, and he's out the car now at last. And that's it. Valtteri Bottas, who's been phenomenal all weekend, great in qualifying, great in practice. Oh great, look at that, a cameraman right in his face. I'd punch the guy. Honestly, who does that? Goes right up to his face to take a photo. That's so impersonal. Virtual safety car and Red Bull are getting ready to pit. It's Max Verstappen. and Raikkonen and Verstappen. And both Red Bulls coming in straight away. In comes Ricciardo. They're doing both of them. Did he just get Ricciardo ahead of... Oh, he's got him behind Raikkonen, and then Vettel's pitted as well. I don't think Hamilton came into the pit. They don't seriously think the tyre's going to last 55 laps, do they? So drivers must decrease speed by 40% with no overtaking. That's the rules of the virtual safety car. I can't believe Bottas is out. Is this a strategy from... Right, so green flag, and straight away Vettel's got past Magnussen. So Lewis Hamilton is staying out on the ultra softs, even though everyone else has just pitted. Well, almost everyone. There's 5 other drivers who haven't, but none that are in contention for the race. All the contenders have pitted. Presumably they've all put on softs. This is right. So if think about how long a pit stop takes. What, about 25 seconds? In those 25 seconds, you've got Verstappen, you've got Raikkonen, you've got Ricciardo, and you've got Vettel. Look, even if the Mercedes got fresher tyres, right, he's got to get past Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, Kimi Raikkonen, and then Max Verstappen. You know, excluding Alonso, the best drivers in the grid. This is an insane decision from Mercedes to not pit. If they had pit, they would have been out ahead with just as fresh tyres. Why didn't they pit? This isn't the first time that everyone has pitted around Hamilton. That happened in Ricciardo's first win. Oh, here's Bottas again. Oh man, he's pissed. That is the walk of a very angry man. You know what he must be wondering? He must be wondering, why is it my Mercedes that's always going wrong? Why is Lewis's car absolutely watertight? I mean, apart from one electrical issue this season, there's been no excuse really for Hamilton's lack of wins, apart from maybe a lack of focus. You know, whilst trying to start off his singing career, which, by the way, he has. He sings in one of the songs in Christina Aguilera's recent album. I believe the song is called Pipe. I think so. But right, so the home track for Red Bull are 2nd and 4th, and they've pitted ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen is keeping that 13-second gap to Hamilton, or should I say Hamilton's keeping that 13-second gap to Verstappen. So, get this, Sebastian Vettel going faster than Lewis Hamilton over the first couple of sectors, but they're not going as fast as the Red Bulls. And on the same tyres. Is this going to be Red Bull's race? Are they going to be the first team to win Austria since its return, apart from Mercedes? It'd be gutting for Mercedes, but by God, if anyone can do it, it's Red Bull. Verstappen's not even pushing. That's the scary thing. If Vettel pushes a little harder, Sebastian Vettel will come out ahead of Lewis. Because of the consistency and Vettel kind of getting dirty air from the drivers ahead, he's just out the gap.
I think you're close enough, and I think the system has gone down for the circuit, so just watch for flags. If you see flags, you can do it.
Yeah, Sergio Perez is pegging back Roman Grosjean. And I know what he's doing. He's waiting to let him pass to a point where he can get it. Mistake from Raikkonen, and Ricciardo is right on the Finn's ass. Literally right on him, right on him. Here comes Ricciardo. There's no DRS open, but he's done it anyway. And that's it. One mistake from Kimi Raikkonen, and Daniel Ricciardo is up into the podium positions. Wow, what a race. The Red Bulls want it. Oh, the Red Bulls want it. But here is when it gets interesting. Whenever Max Verstappen or Daniel Ricciardo are next to each other, they crash. We see some brilliant overtaking, and the reason brilliant overtakes are brilliant is because they're things that will either go right or go really well. And if you do that 5 or 6 times, the chances of it going horribly wrong are so great. So right now, we should be saying, oh, well done Red Bull, but I'm actually thinking, my God, Red Bull must be shitting it, and Ricciardo's just set the fastest lap of the race. I will be absolutely devastated if Verstappen and Ricciardo crash again. And what must Red Bull be thinking? Because they want them to race, but they always crash. And I don't care what people tell me about the last time these two crashed. The last time they crashed, I'm telling you, it was Ricciardo's fault. And Ricciardo was behind Verstappen. Right, Raikkonen has avoided a penalty against Max Verstappen. Right, there's Max Verstappen, there's Daniel Ricciardo, there's Raikkonen, where's Vettel? Where is Sebastian Vettel? Max Verstappen is going neck and neck with Lewis Hamilton. And I'm telling you, Hamilton's pushing. Because he's got to push. Hamilton has to push. Because everyone's still in his pit window and he needs the clean air if he wants to guarantee the win. He is pushing and Max isn't. And Max is keeping up with him. You can tell because the Mercedes is starting to wobble, it's quick. Wow, okay, one of the technicians just... Jesus, yeah, one of the technicians just admitted to the fault of Mercedes not coming in during the virtual safety car, and Lewis Hamilton is furious that he has lost 8 seconds of race pace. And they said, just make the tyres last as long as you can, and he's just said, I have no life left. Yeah, Lewis will do what Lewis does best. Lewis is the best driver on the grid when he's angry. So this might be the incentive he needs. But Verstappen's catching him. The gap's now below 13 seconds. Oh, they're getting even closer, and Vettel's now within that two. Vettel's now within the 2 seconds. Hamilton will come out in 5th if he pits. And he's losing time. He's just going to keep losing time. If he... I don't know if this is 8 seconds he's already lost, or if this is them saying be prepared to lose 8 seconds. If he loses those 8 seconds, he'll be behind Magnussen. He'll be... Oh man, I think Mercedes may have just thrown their race away, and the whole Bottas crash has just sent them into complete disarray. Oh wow! I mean, Mercedes would be very lucky now, if you ask me, to get on the podium. They've really butchered this race. Well, I mean, Bottas, fair, you know, that's kind of something out of your control, but Hamilton, Oh, what a mistake. It's down at 12.7. Max is shaving time off lap by lap. Or sector by sector, I should say. And Max is pulling away from Ricciardo ever so slightly, so it's actually Verstappen who's up the pace. So Max Verstappen, currently the favourite to win the race, if you ask me. Vettel's still so far behind Lewis. I don't see, if Lewis pits, I honestly don't see how Seb would get past him. I mean, they say within the time frame that's what would happen. I just don't see it. I mean, looking at the graph, look at this. Hamilton's now approaching the halfway point of the track, and Vettel crossed the line, the finish line, the start-finish line, about 5 seconds ago. But of course, that's just the speed these cars are moving at. Ericsson, well, Stroll's just gone into the pit, so everyone up a position. Leclerc's got past him. Right, Hamilton's in the pit. This is interesting. Hamilton is in the pit. Who is he going to come in front of? They need a good pit stop. They need a good pit stop. That looked good. That looked like a good pit stop. There's one. There's two. There's three. It's Vettel. There's Vettel. There's Vettel. Hamilton's coming out. Is he ahead of Vettel? Okay, unless the Mercedes has insane pace on softs, Vettel just set the fastest lap of the race by about 0.4 of a second. Hamilton has just come out less than a second ahead of him. Vettel is in DRS of the Mercedes. But I can guarantee you there is no driver harder to overtake on the grid than Lewis Hamilton. But this also means the Mercedes will have much fresher tyres at the end of the race. You'll have 10 lap difference in tyres, assuming nothing goes wrong for him too. In the current standings, he would extend his lead to 16 points over Sebastian Vettel, but Ricciardo would be up amazingly to 114, and Verstappen would be close to 102 points behind Raikkonen, despite all the mistakes and accidents he's had this year. This is scary. Very scary. So Verstappen is now extending his lead to 4.2 seconds over Ricciardo. So Verstappen going faster than Ricciardo. Ricciardo staying 1.7 seconds ahead of Raikkonen. Raikkonen is only 1.2 seconds ahead of Hamilton, and Hamilton has now extended his lead to 2 seconds. Is that can't be right? He's now 2 seconds faster than Vettel. Did Vettel make a mistake? Oh, and Leclerc and Stroll have an amazing battle. Leclerc gets past him, but Stroll gets past again. Great driving there between Lance Stroll and Charles Leclerc. That was fantastic driving. That was like watching Alonso versus Ricciardo. That was great. What a moment. Two youngsters. That was fantastic. Give Stroll a better car. Let's send him to Renault. As for Leclerc, well, we know how good he is. so dominant in the younger divisions, and well, he's taken the car that replaced the bottom of the grid. Sauber scored 0 points last year, and look how much Leclerc has done this year. You know, Ericsson stayed, he's still just as useless, but Leclerc is brilliant. Proof that it's not just the car, the driver does make the difference. I mean, Kvyat proved that at Red Bull. He only had one podium, he could have had many. Recently, Sauber denied that Ferrari had approached them to say, Leclerc's coming to us now, you can have Raikkonen for the rest of the season. And to be honest, that kind of makes a lot of sense why you would deny that, because Sauber need the points, and Leclerc is more likely to give them points than Raikkonen, because if Raikkonen moves to that if he moves to that team, I guarantee you his hunger will be completely gone. Completely gone. I mean, maybe a fixer-upper project at McLaren seems appealing, but only if the money's good, because Raikkonen will still want podiums, he'll want points. You know, he's not an idiot. So Lewis Hamilton just saying he wants to say something, but he doesn't now. So here we go. Lewis on the tail of Raikkonen, who's on the tail of Ricciardo, and Max is just starting to get a little bit of clear air, but you would assume with this pace from the Mercedes they're going to overtake the rest. But right now Raikkonen's actually going faster than Ricciardo, so there's something wrong with Ricciardo, I'm assuming, because he had the pace before. He's still not within DRS. Actually, I might be wrong about that, because there go the three cars, and Raikkonen seemed to gain a lot on that straight. At least this the end of the straight. I like Spielberg, it's a nice track, and people say there's not a lot of overtaking, but it's such a wide circuit. I think there's plenty of room for overtaking, and we've seen lots. It's been a good race. It's been one of the better races so far. If Max Verstappen wins, as I said he could, I will be in shock. This is a great race, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already tuned in, please, Channel 4, this is a great race. This really is. It's not slowing down yet. Right, Lewis Hamilton complaining of a lack of power. Is both Mercedes honestly going to be eliminated before the halfway point of this race? Well, he's just set a fastest first sector of the race. Right, and also the track's getting hotter and tyres are starting to blister, and that means there'll be another pit stop. Right, sorry about that, I was just sending a message. See, he set a fastest first sector. I don't see him losing power. I mean, he's got no power advantage, if that's what he means. Mercedes proving they really can't run in dirty air. But he's just caught up to Raikkonen around the corner, but Raikkonen's starting to make a lot of mistakes. Ooh, there's Vettel. Vettel is just behind Hamilton. Hamilton is now... It's still, yeah, it was up to 3 seconds, but Vettel's back up to 2 seconds behind Hamilton now. And now it's starting to drop. It's starting to drop. Vettel's gaining. Vettel's gaining. He's gaining a 1/10 per 5 seconds now. Hamilton's got a problem, whether it's the dirty air or not. That McLaren, well, we know about the lack of power in the McLaren, but the Mercedes is definitely slowing. He's a second off Raikkonen, who's a second off Ricciardo. Oh, and Raikkonen's caught right up to him. He's half a second behind Ricciardo. Oh, Raikkonen's chasing. Oh, Raikkonen's chasing. Look at the pace. He's right on him. Oh, Kimi Raikkonen. Is he going to go for it? Is Kimi Raikkonen going to go for it? That's why Ricciardo's got a blister. And his race drivers just told him, go for him, get him. Oh, great. Oh, but Hamilton's still not giving up. Even if he's got a lack of power, it's Lewis Hamilton in that car. The more angry he gets, the quicker he'll get. Until he makes a mistake. Oh, Jesus, yeah. Ricciardo's left rear is horrible. Does Verstappen have the same problem? Oh, wow. Oh, if Ricciardo's tyre was to give up, that would be such a shame. Right, look, there's the line down the tyre. Yeah, Ricciardo's that's not even blistering, that's insane blistering. The tyre looks weak. And last year, the last time we said someone's tyre looked weak, Sebastian Vettel's tyre blew up. And it wasn't even due for a change. They weren't pushing hard. It just gave up on him because of a line down the middle, which is exactly what we can see on Ricciardo's left rear, and which is why Kimi Raikkonen has lost time. Ricciardo's going quickly again. And Hamilton's going slow. Vettel is 1 second behind Lewis Hamilton. Oh wow, Vettel's in the fight now. Vettel's in the fight. Oh, good grief. I did not see this coming. I did not see this coming. Vettel's back in it. Oh, he's pushing. Oh, they're all pushing. This is great. This is great racing. Out of all the races I choose to broadcast, I might have just picked one of the best of the year. Mistakes from Mercedes. Bottas's car giving up. Hamilton's got an issue. Ricciardo's got an issue. Raikkonen is solid. Verstappen is solid. Sainz has come in for a pit stop. And it was a very bad pit stop. The front right wouldn't go on. So Sainz is going on the super soft for the last 34 laps. So let's watch him in his battle for points. But he's now behind Fernando Alonso, the second hardest driver in the grid to get past. Lack of power or not, when Fernando Alonso's behind the wheel, nothing's ever easy. This looks like Raikkonen. Raikkonen again, he's caught up to Ricciardo. Oh, here comes Raikkonen, defended by Ricciardo. And Vettel is now fighting Hamilton. Half a second between Hamilton and Vettel. Can Vettel get him? So Vettel's older tyres going faster than Hamilton's new tyres. This is crazy. Alonso is now battling with Stroll. Sorokin battling with the recently pitted Sainz. Vettel, Hamilton, Ricciardo and Raikkonen all fighting for second place through to fifth. Oh, what a race. And Max Verstappen he's not very comfortable, but he's ahead. And, well, right now, where's the pressure? There's no one giving him pressure. Oh, Max Verstappen could win today, ladies and gents. He's now 6 seconds ahead of Ricciardo, nearly 8. Raikkonen's going on the outside. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Great driving from Ricciardo. Oh, Ricciardo's struggling. Raikkonen goes for it. Raikkonen gets him. Kimi Raikkonen is past Daniel Ricciardo and moves up into second place. Presumably to now and catch Verstappen. Oh, well, this could be the end of his podium. Daniel Ricciardo has to pit. The blistering's gotten too bad. And the Red Bull is having to pit. But what are they going to do? But where is he going to come out? Vettel's... And Vettel just squeezed out Hamilton. Vettel up into third. And here comes Ricciardo out in fifth. That's all right. He'll take that. He'll take that. Well, I mean, when Raikkonen got past Ricciardo and Ricciardo pitted, there's no excuse for dirty air for the Mercedes. There's genuinely a lack of power in that car. That much is now definitely evident. Wow. Well, that engineer apologising to Hamilton, saying that he's thrown away Lewis's race. He sounds so apologetic, though. You know, it's not just a guy going, "My bad." This guy sounds heartbroken about what he's done, and he's heartbroken that Lewis is fuming. And you know what? Usually you think Lewis would be cool. He'll be cool by the next race, but for now, Lewis will be very, very, very angry with his title on the line and his title contender getting ahead of him. Because either way, it doesn't matter where they finish, as long as Vettel's ahead of Hamilton, the gap will get closed. And assuming nothing goes wrong, well, if something goes wrong with Verstappen, it'll be Raikkonen Vettel, and if history's anything to go by, Raikkonen will just let Vettel by. But with 31 laps to go, I just want to say this: I hope Raikkonen stays in there, because Raikkonen has not won a race since he won the World Championship. Kimi Raikkonen has not won a Formula 1 race in what's now coming up for 11 years. I mean, yeah, there was, a year or two when he was out. But 11 years. 11 years. Without a race win. All those podiums, all those points, finishing 4th best, 5th best in the constructors. He hasn't won a race. So many seconds, so many thirds, countless fourths. Kimi Raikkonen deserves a win. And I'll tell you something, the world will also love it if Kimi Raikkonen wins. I'll love it. I have always told myself, once my money comes back in, I'm going to continue my tattoo sleeve because I like tattoos. I've got quite a few already. I've got 25 or something. I don't know. I lost count. I'm getting all my favorite Formula One drivers tattooed. Doesn't matter which generation they're from. And Kimi Räikkönen definitely one of them, because when it comes to his dry, blunt personality is wonderful. So, Lady Luck has once again deserted Valtteri Bottas. If you're just tuning in, the biggest news is that Valtteri Bottas's car has once again given up on him, and what a shame that is.
That you had last year, but tell us about the fantastic move that you pulled later on in the lap to get back up to second place.
Yeah, the start I had quite a bit of wheel spin and dropped a couple of places, but with the recovery.
So Bottas talking to one of the reporters now. The reason he had a bad start was due to lots of wheel spin, and his recovery overtake over Raikkonen was of course very impressive, but the car gave up. It's so sad. It's so sad. I mean, look at him. Look at him. He's laughing. Hopefully next week. You could only laugh at this point, can't you? Well, we talked about that. We said that, why is it always his car going wrong? I got a comment from someone saying, oh, well, Hamilton's car's going wrong now. We know his race is going wrong because of an engineering mistake, not because of the car. The car's fine. It's the tyres. He lost all that. I say that, but he's still half a second behind Vettel. If he can get DRS and get past him, then it's all hunky-dory again. Because his argument is that he can't overtake anyone. He's right behind Vettel. He's 0.3 behind Vettel. I'm surprised we're not seeing it. Oh, it's just jumped to a second. Hamilton just lost 0.7 of a second in the space of 3 seconds. What happened there? Yeah, here we go. Vettel's pulling away from Hamilton again. Is Raikkonen gaining on Max Verstappen? It looks like it. Oh, I missed a strike. Shit. That's what happens sometimes. I'm too focused on the screen and the stats that I'm missing some of the fish. Because I am, of course, actively fishing. I am actively playing this fishing game. That's what I was meant to say. Not actively pishing. If I was actively pishing, I don't think I'd ever be allowed to make a YouTube video again. So, only How to Basic can really get away with that. By the way, just an interesting question about How to Basic. How has it not been leaked? Like, how is it genuinely not been leaked? The whole piss take on the 10 million subs thing, all the different YouTubers saying that they are How to Basic. You think about all the people he's collabed with, though. You would have thought there was at least one arsehole to ruin the How to Basic myth. How he's kept it under wraps, I have no idea. Because you would think a postman would ruin it. You would think a shopkeeper would notice, how much eggs and shit this guy was buying. But it's just amazing that his identity stayed so quiet. So just on an unrelated topic, if you've got any opinions on that, you think about how much isn't a secret anymore. How has How to Basic honestly kept his identity under wraps? And more importantly, when will he come out and reveal himself? Will it be when he's ready to quit? Or will he still just leave it as a sort of, you will never know? I think it would be better if he left it as a never know. There's some secrets you don't need to know. And to be honest, you think about the myth and the legend and the humour behind How to Basic. With the things he does, if you put a face to it, if you imagine his face whilst making the noises, it kind of takes away that bit of nonsense, which is the whole point of it. It just makes it look like a guy being an idiot instead of just How to Basic's idiotic genius. There's a difference between being an idiot and being an idiotic genius. So Hamilton saying he's going to keep at Vettel despite everything. Well, that's his job, so I should fucking hope so. He's gonna keep at it. Go on, Lewis. Come on. There's nothing better than someone fighting the odds. It's great. I don't know what bait to use. The semolina doesn't seem to be working, and I'm running out of bread. I mean, how much money am I sitting on? 700. Might as well just keep spinning, actually. I need more money. That's why we're here. So, is there anything interesting on the grid? Right, I suppose I should probably go for a top 10. I haven't told you the top 10 in about 25 laps. So, there's a couple of changes. 10th is, believe it or not, Christian Eriksen. 9th is Perez. 8th is Magnussen. 7th, Ocon. Come on, 6th, Grosjean. He's got to get those points. He's got to get those first points. Ricardo in 5th, but he's so far behind everyone else now. Hamilton in 4th. Vettel, then Raikkonen, then Max. Well, I'm not sure if the commentators on here have picked it up, but I see blistering on Verstappen's front right and his rear left. We just had a conversation with Christian Horner. Well, I say we, the viewers. We've just listened to Christian Horner, and yeah, they reckon that it's the increase of temperature which is causing all of these unexpected issues with the soft tires. Because we said they're supposed to be hard, but they seem to be blistering even harder than the ultra softs. It's just bizarre how rubber works. It really is. So Hamilton still about a second from Vettel. Vettel a second and a half of Raikkonen. Raikkonen has even though he's clawed some time back, he's still 7 seconds behind Max with 23 laps to go. I think that's such a big. I think that's too small a gap, for 23 laps. I mean, we talked about the softs lasting 30, maybe 40 laps, but right. So yeah, that's him. Everyone else is now starting to clock onto the blistering on Max Verstappen's car. Also, Hamilton complaining about delamination on his tires. Now, you think the blistering is bad because it fucks with the tire temperature and the overall speed of the car. Delamination is what causes the tires to blow up spontaneously. So let's hope to God that Lewis Hamilton's tires aren't delaminating as drastically as he's making it sound. Because if it is, that's both Mercedes out, and Vettel's currently in 3rd, so I'm pretty sure that would mean Vettel would regain the lead of the championship, and if not, it would only be literally by 1 or 2 points. Oh, it's a good fish. Great fish. Whoa, I'm seeing it. Hamilton wasn't kidding. His tyres are delaminating. He's losing pace to the Toro Rosso that he just lapped. Go on, he's got to go faster than that. Go on. Interesting. Everyone's kind of panicking about conservation, but Max Verstappen claiming that he feels good so far. And even though I did point out the blistering compared to what was on Ricciardo's car, it is very minimal, but it is there. And when there is an impurity, there is a chance for an issue, because I mean the cars deliver, but with the sensitivity of Formula 1 cars, you know, it's crazy. Because you'd look at some other races, you know, cars can get lapped and lapped and lapped. In Formula 1, the difference is tenths, you know, tenths. It's unbelievable. Now, Raikkonen is pushing hard. Raikkonen gains a second on Max Verstappen. Here comes Raikkonen. He's pulling away from Vettel, and Vettel's pulling away from Hamilton. And Max Verstappen, he's sort of balancing out again now. He's pulling a bit of time back. I'm not sure if he made a mistake, even though he said he was comfortable. But you can't really be comfortable when when the 3 cars behind you have 9 world titles between them. You know, it would be like looking at Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen in your rearview mirror. It's Hamilton, Vettel and Raikkonen, 3 world champions and great drivers in their own right. It's very interesting. The Haas, oh no, the Haas of Grosjean is heaving. It's looking hot. The engine is looking hot. And what I mean by, okay, Hamilton's gonna pit. Hamilton's gonna pit. Wow, Lewis Hamilton saying these tyres aren't gonna fucking last. That's a quote. They might beep it out on Channel 4, but welcome to my channel. I'm not beeping anything out. I know exactly what the man said. And, well, he's going to pit again, and this is either a move of genius or it's going to be devastating for his race. You know, I think this is about trying to challenge Vettel. I don't think he's going to be able to catch the likes of Raikkonen and Verstappen. And he's got traffic. Oh, he's got traffic. There's Ricciardo. There's Ricciardo. Ricciardo's ahead. Is Grosjean going to get ahead? No, that's not Grosjean. It's Sainz. So they're overlapping people. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Daniel Ricciardo is ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Great strategy and recovery from the Red Bull despite their early blistering. But this is all because Mercedes have made miscalculations ever since the Bottas mistake. So Bottas is now on ultra tyre. I'm sorry, I got a bit distracted there because I swore I just saw a bit of smoke come off the Red Bull or the Mercedes. And I'm talking about the Red Bull of Ricciardo. So Ricciardo's on super softs, Hamilton's on ultras. I think he'll be... This is recovery Mercedes. Oh no, the gear sync has died. The gear sync has died on Ricciardo's car. What will happen if there's a virtual safety car? I mean, Verstappen can't pit. He can't pit, surely. Hamilton's way too far back, and then he'll lose to Vettel and Raikkonen. Oh God, Ricciardo retirement could mean anything. This is terrible for Red Bull. Yeah, as soon as Hamilton started the DRS... Oh, there we go, that smoke. There we go, there's the smoke. It did come off Ricciardo, I wasn't seeing things. Smoke came out the back of the Red Bull, and then 2 corners later, gear sync was gone. Now, he is quite far off the track, so it looks like a yellow flag will be the way of it. Now, Hamilton's just set the fastest lap, even though he's not allowed to overtake and he's not allowed to speed during a yellow. That doesn't seem right. Is he allowed to do that? Mind you, I mean, he doesn't really care about breaking the rules. I mean, he's 22 seconds behind Sebastian Vettel. He needs every advantage he gets, I suppose. I mean, yeah, well done. He's clawed back half a second. So James Valls is the man to blame for the Mercedes error in tactics. But the car and the temperatures have not helped him at all. Everything's gone against Lewis in this race. And Brendan Hartley, under yellow flag, just spun out. So Brandon Hartley came off the track. So he pulls up. Let's have a look. The engine died. It just died on him. Oh, the hydraulics. Oh, Jesus. Ooh. Oh, that horrible noise. It sounds like a wet chainsaw. Hydraulics. The hydraulics are gone in the Toro Rosso. And Brendan Hartley looks like he's out. And Hamilton goes faster again. Right, we have yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. Why do we have yellow flags in 2 different sectors? But right now, the cars are failing. Right, we've got a green flag. The track is clear. 5 seconds separate Verstappen from Raikkonen. So Raikkonen has gained 2 seconds in 13 laps. And I've got bad news for him. There's 13 laps left. So, and Hamilton has closed the gap to Sebastian Vettel by... looks like 3 or 4 seconds. He's still 21 seconds behind him. This is damage limitation. The only thing now on Hamilton's mind is beat Vettel. That's the only thing in the mind of Sebastian Vettel. Who would you say has been driver of the race? They're currently doing the vote. If you want to go online and take the vote, by all means go and do it. I'm a way to do it. And you know what? I'm going to go for the very good and very well performing Romain Grosjean. We haven't talked about him at all. He started 5th, he's currently 5th, and he's 14.5 seconds ahead of his teammate Magnussen. And if you've got a gap like that over your teammate without anything going wrong, you deserve driver of the day. And if you disagree with me, well, my second pick would of course be the race leader, Max Verstappen. He's kept it clean, he's kept it brilliant. And, well, Hamilton was catching Vettel, but Vettel's just set the fastest lap of the race by 0.3 of a second, so I guess that means that gap will be increasing again. Is Hamilton really going to finish outside of the podium? It seriously looks like it. So, like, we're looking at the individual gaps here. Lewis Hamilton, it's a long, long way behind the front. Romain Grosjean, 25 seconds behind him. Magnussen, 14.5 seconds behind him. Then it gets pretty close, and then we've got Gasly, 12 seconds behind Perez. So, the Force India's doing pretty well together. And the battle for the last point. The battle for the last point. 10th, separated by a second and a half, is the future of Formula One, Charles Leclerc, and the two-time world champion, Fernando Alonso. Let's see if this Monegasque-born youngster can take on one of the giants of Formula One history. Fernando Alonso, the man who dethroned Michael Schumacher in a Ferrari. Mika Hakkinen was the only driver that Michael Schumacher feared, but Alonso was one of the fewer one of the handful of drivers that Schumacher respected. And there must be a good reason for that. I mean, he was all the way down in 19th, and thankfully for them, he's got past some folk. McLaren have worked their recovery strategy pretty well, at least on Alonso's car, but he's 11th. He's just shaved the time off Charles Leclerc by half a second, so he's pushing. Fernando Alonso knows that the points are crucial for sponsorship. Oh, and a weird noise coming from the back of Raikkonen's car. Don't tell me that's him about to give up. Well, in the last 3 laps, Raikkonen has now gained a second on Max Verstappen. And with 10 laps to go, I don't think he's going to close it in time. Ocon didn't fight against Perez, which is just as well, because these two have a nasty history of clashing into each other. But if Ocon goes for it again, Perez is definitely dealing with the blistering tyres better than the youngster Ocon. Ocon, of course, a Mercedes prodigy. And Checo Perez, ex-McLaren. He's got some podiums. 3.6 seconds between Kimi Raikkonen and Max Verstappen. If Verstappen can push, he's got to push surely. 41 kilometers to go. And now 9 laps. Now 9 laps to go. Here we go. It's getting interesting again. This is quite something. Kimi Raikkonen could look at a race win. It's going to be Raikkonen or Verstappen. No concern on tyres, and rather than being told to wait for Seb, Raikkonen's been told to go for it for the first time, I think, ever. Since his return to Ferrari, Kimi Raikkonen has been told to go for the race win. And as soon as he loses half a second to Max Verstappen, who wants his 3rd race win. Verstappen wants it. 8 laps left. 8 laps to go. We're 63 laps in out of 71. Max Verstappen leads Kimi Raikkonen by 4 seconds. Sebastian Vettel behind him by 1.7 seconds. Hamilton a long way off, 22 seconds, who's now 44 seconds ahead of Grosjean. Grosjean 10 seconds ahead of Magnussen, who's just gained a lot of time on his teammate, so we're assuming Grosjean made a big mistake. Perez, of course, got past Ocon recently. I didn't get a chance to see who was 9th before the grid disappeared, but Fernando Alonso got past Leclerc, so Alonso is 10th. So Alonso beats the youngster. It's Pierre Gasly in the Toro Rosso who's 9th. The Toro Rosso without the upgrades. Oh no. Hamilton's lost power. Hamilton's lost power. Hamilton's out. Hamilton is out. And that's it.
But maybe it's just going down to where Bottas brought his car to a conclusion. This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable. The Mercedes are dead. Hamilton is out.
33 consecutive
He was, I mean, sure, he wasn't going to catch Vettel, but damage limitation would have at least helped Lewis to retain the lead. He could lose the championship lead. Both of the Mercedes are gone. 7 laps before the end, Lewis Hamilton is out. The crowd is gathering towards the car to see the 4-time world champion. But I wouldn't want to get up in his grill right now, people. He's out. And believe me, there is no man angrier. And guess what? Hamilton's not getting out the car. Niki Lauda there. He's got his arm around Bottas. Oh, and I think Lauda's laughing, but the look on Bottas's face is a look of thunder. And for the second time in the race, a Mercedes is dead, and this time it's the championship leader. And look at that, the Ferrari fans and the Red Bull fans love it. But if you're a Mercedes fan, if you're a Lewis Hamilton fan, a Bottas fan, your race is over. If you're tuned in and you don't see a point in listening because Lewis Hamilton is out, it's worth it just to see where Vettel finishes, because if Vettel's going to do... Yeah, look at that. Vettel will be 1 point ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Vettel will finish 1 point ahead of Hamilton at this rate. And then Raikkonen, of all people, will only be 40 points behind those two. 45 points behind Vettel, 44 points behind Hamilton. So Raikkonen would be back into the title show. And oh, it's for 9th, and Alonso is past Pierre Gasly. Fernando Alonso. Oh no, wait. Of course, Hamilton out, so they've all moved up a place. So Alonso's up into 8th. A great recovery from the McLaren, and of course Ericsson and actually there seems to be a problem with that Toro Rosso. It's lost a lot of power, and here come the Saubers looking for 9th and 10th, which would be fantastic for Sauber. 2 cars in the points. That would be amazing for Sauber, and it's all probably thanks to that Alfa Romeo package and what they brought to the deal. And as soon as Alfa came in, we knew they were going to be a better team than what they were.
We heard James Vowles on the radio, very apologetic about that error. I mean, Australia, you guys had an issue there, miscalculation, cost Lewis the win. But what's going to happen internally? Surely there's going to be a few conversations.
Check what went wrong and where to fix it. Very simple.
Right, thank you.
Niki Lauda is saying there's a problem, we need to fix it. So it's pump pressure. Charles Leclerc has got past Gasly, but he shuts the door on Ericsson. No, Ericsson's passed him too. And Kimi Raikkonen just set the fastest lap of the race with 4 laps to go. And it's down to 2.5 seconds. So that means there's only 3 drivers now really in it, and unless one of them crash, a Haas could get up onto the podium. Kimi Raikkonen is going so fast. So what happened here? Gasly locks up. Leclerc goes through. Ericsson sticks right behind him for the slipstream. Oh, and there's Max's tyres. Oh, wow. I hope Max is just managing and he's not struggling, because Raikkonen is gaining. And as much as I love Kimi Raikkonen, it's Max Verstappen who deserves this win without a doubt. It says there's 5 laps to go. I'm sure it's 4. So, over the last 5 kilometers, Raikkonen has gained no time on Max Verstappen. No time has been gained from the Ferraris to Max over that lap. That's what they need. If he can do that 2 or 3 more times, he'll be fine. But if Verstappen with this win would overtake Valtteri Bottas in the constructors and go 5th, Raikkonen would still go 3rd, and of course Hamilton will be 2nd. Oh, the Ferraris are flying. And Van Dorn almost got in the way of Vettel. Well, Lewis, he seems relatively calm, but I think we all know inside he isn't. Another lap is gone. 2.5 seconds the gap. Max is holding on. Max is holding on. Can the Dutchman, the man who hasn't even turned 21 yet, win his 3rd Grand Prix? Can he do it? He's gained a 10th on Raikkonen, and he's gained another 10th on Raikkonen. This is the chance. Raikkonen hasn't won a race. There you go. He hasn't won. I was wrong. He won a race 5 years ago. I had no idea. I thought he hadn't won since he retired, but nevertheless, his last win was 2013. Still not good. Easy. There's Kimi Raikkonen. There's Sebastian Vettel. No one else in the picture. All the way up to 4th. All of them have been lapped. And talking about 4th, it's Grosjean. Grosjean and Magnussen might get the points that Haas have deserved this entire season. Can Grosjean get those points? Because what is that, 25-18? That's 12 points to Grosjean. He cannot throw those points away. And 10 more for Magnussen. The two Saubers, and they're brilliant. And Ericsson got past Leclerc. On other news, Van Dorn is in the pit, so I'm going to assume his race is over. Does that mean we're going to finish with only 14 out of the 20 cars? Yeah, here they come. 2 laps to go. 2.4 seconds between Raikkonen and Verstappen. Can he do it? 2 laps. 2 laps max. Forget the crowd, kid. Focus. This is you. This is for you, Max. Do it, Max. Go on. Not been a good race for Williams again. Technically the worst of the grid. 2.1 seconds. Kimi is pushing. Kimi is pushing harder than he has for the rest of the race. Kimi is pushing, but Max is ahead. Oh, and Kimi's getting even closer. Oh, he's gonna go for it in the last corner. You know he is. Here he comes. Here comes Kimi. Vettel's too far behind. This isn't Vettel's to win. This is Kimi's to win. But Max, this is yours, kid. Come on. Come on, Max. We're so close. We are so close. Remember, current changes means that Raikkonen would go 3rd in the in the driver championship, and Vettel will finish ahead. There's the shot. Look at all the Dutch fans. Look at all the Dutch fans. Max Verstappen is 1.7 seconds ahead of Raikkonen. He's passed one corner. And he's done it! He's done it! Red Bull's first win at their home Grand Prix. Max Verstappen wins in Austria. Kimi Raikkonen finishes 2nd ahead of Vettel. It's good to see they didn't swap around. Fastest lap of the race for Kimi Raikkonen. But that's it. So the front 3 have finished the line, and now it's time for the rest of the grid to catch up.
with it, Red Bull. Amazing.
The first time that's ever been done.
Red Bull win at the Red Bull Ring. And Max is over the moon, naturally. And it looks like Kimi Räikkönen or Vettel pulling up next to him. They're driving side by side, clearly congratulating each other. And what a race. We seen drama. We seen pretty much no crashes. It was just a drama. We've seen retirements of cars giving up. The more two notable, of course, the two guys who I thought were going to finish first and second today. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas out. Vettel third, Raikkonen second, and Max Verstappen wins.
Yeah, well, he has the confidence, doesn't he? Red flag, checkered flag, P4. Man, when are you going to see the red lines, bro? Oh, man. I'm sure they're ugly. Ollie, is this still like you've never seen? Oh, yeah. Great result for Haas, no question. But just a wonderful day for Red Bull and Max Verstappen.
And then see from his dad, Jos, is talking to Karun.
Jos, your boy's won his first race of 2018. He's driven superbly today. The Dutch grandstand over there, I can tell you, has gone absolutely great.
That's good. I mean, to have this on the Red Bull Ring with so many Dutch fans, it's unbelievable. I mean, I think today he drove a very mature race. Yeah, just fantastic.
All right, listen, we saw you celebrating. I'm going to grab your team boss, spin the camera on Christian Horner. You won your home race at the Red Bull Ring. Amazing. Unbelievable. I mean, Max made the move on the first lap. I'm really sorry for Daniel not to have him up there as well.
Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo easily could have had a third, maybe a second if he'd pushed Kimi.
I mean, we spoke yesterday.
But there we go.
Maybe you ought to have more corners at your home circuit, but yeah, you didn't need it today. No, a great first lap from Max. And, you know, the move on Kimi was
Brilliant.
dictating.
What a race.
Up the tyres. And, you know, we're then concerned with the reliability issue we had with Daniel. You know, with the exhaust issue he had, so we had to turn the engine down, then it back up. So, a great drive by Max today.
Well, there is Max Verstappen and even the Ferrari guys, I think.
Well, that was fantastic. And the Ferrari pit crew congratulating Verstappen.
To speak to our race winner.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a race. What a race, ladies and gents. If you've tuned in to listen to this with me, thank you so much for putting up with my voice. I probably reached some annoying pitches, I imagine. But by God, it was worth it. What a race. So, it all started with a Mercedes dying and then a Mercedes mistake. So, retirements of the race. For those of you that don't know, right at the end, Stoffel Van Dorn couldn't bring the McLaren home. They brought it into the pit and they retired. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas incredibly both out, both with pressure problems, one with a pump pressure, that would be Valtteri Bottas affecting the gearbox, and Lewis Hamilton with a fuel pump issue, and the car just died. If he's got no pressure in the fuel, engine's not getting any fuel, it's dead. Brendan Hartley, the Toro Rosso with all the upgrades, crashed. Valtteri Bottas out, as I said, and Nico Hülkenberg and Daniel Ricciardo, who had a gear sync issue which cost him a position to Hamilton, but the car died simultaneously. So Raikkonen, you know, he just spoke with Mark Webber, and he's saying that they just run out of laps because Vettel and Raikkonen were catching, but Verstappen once again has proved why he's a prodigy. So, finishing 14th and 13th. Big shocks, the Williams. Not a shock at all. Sergei Sirotkin being outperformed by Lance Stroll. We shouldn't be shocked by that aspect, though. Carlos Sainz, the only Renault, finishing 12th. Pierre Gasly coming in at 11th. Christian Eriksen and Charles Leclerc finishing 10th and 9th. A double point finish for Sauber. Brilliant. And despite me going into them at the start of the race, Fernando Alonso in the McLaren coming 8th. It's so crap for a McLaren, but 8th is better than 19th, so well done, lads. I'm proud of you for that recovery. Great race from Force India. They were untroubled, Perez and Ocon. Speaking of doubles, let's talk about the guys who've deserved these positions all season. Grosjean 4th, Magnussen 5th. This is what we talked about at the start of the season. This is the Haas we talked about. Brilliant performance from the lads. And of course, the resurgent Ferraris couldn't catch the remaining Red Bull of Max Verstappen, who won the race. Vettel 3rd, Raikkonen 2nd, and Max Verstappen the race winner here in Austria. Thank you for joining. It's been great. And I was about to turn it off, but my TV just went off, so we're just going to have to put up with this awkward silence. And you know what? This has been so fun. I think I've just got a load of random nonsense in the comments. Well, that was fun. It's a bit of annoying knowing that I had a couple of wankers commenting. That's wonderful. Yeah, Danny D, if you're the last guy tuned in, go fuck yourself. And I hope you get chlamydia, and if not, cancer. So, adios.